So I question why do business leaders, why do they have this blind eye? And I think, I really believe that business education has an impact.
So you want one of the roots that we would have to focus on are the business schools themselves?
Yeah, I think it's the business school themselves. And I would like to tell you a little anecdote to illustrate that. So I already talked about the ethics day. So in the ethics day, we had all these kind of workshops where we could really reflect on certain situations. What would you do, and what would be the right thing to do, etc., etc. And I remember one rule that we learned on that day, and that is it ethical? How can you tell? Well, if I can explain it to my children, it's ethical. And if I can read it on the front page of the newspaper on the next day, then it's ethical.
If somebody would bring it up on the first page of the newspaper, would you be embarrassed or would you be proud of it? Yeah.
So, and I said, well, that sounds pretty reasonable. And then fast forward more than 10 years, or almost 10 years, I was working for a very cool company called eBay. And at that time, like in the early days of the millennium, they were growing super fast.
Yeah.
And I saw this internal broadcast with Meg Whitman, our great leader, which is a very intelligent, very successful, and extremely good manager and leader for eBay, who oversaw this incredible growth of the company. And she was in a very high regard, and we really liked her a lot. And then she was interviewed about business ethics, and her answer was, well, I always ask myself, can I read it in the newspaper? Can I explain it to my children? So I felt so good. I said, I obviously really learned
verbatim. Yeah.
I learned really what is the state of the art of business ethics. And I'm so proud of my leader because she knows it too. Mm-hmm. And obviously we are all super ethical people. And so I was very happy then. Yeah. And now, a few decades later, I asked myself, basically, what you have to do is you have to just switch on your brain and think about what it actually means. So if I can explain it to my children, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the recognition of my children. If I can make my children into cynics, I can tell them anything and they will say, yeah, well done, Dad.
They'll even embrace it.
Well done, Mom. You've made another 10 million. It's very good.
You took advantage. Yeah. It's like cutting in line,
And if it comes to the newspaper, do I have to tell you how many people are so unabashed and really brazenly do whatever they want, and they don't even care what's in the newspaper.
Well, in public relations, there's the old adage, any news is good news, right? Even if it's bad news.
Even that. So and both these things have to do with social shaming, okay? Either you are embarrassed in front of your children or you are embarrassed in front of the public because of the newspaper article. And is social shaming, I'm asking the question now, is social shaming a good source for ethical content? How can is that what is the definition of what is good and what is bad? Of course not. It can't be the source of ethical values.
It should be the primary motivation why you do good things. That you're afraid of being shamed.
It's a disaster that it's the primary. But that is what's taught in business schools, and that is what you see everywhere.
So it's okay as long as you get away with it. It's kind of the underlying message.
That is implied in it.
And if you get away with it, it kind of confirms to yourself, to your ego, and to your cohorts. Know that you're particularly smart, that you managed to find a loophole, right?
And that also shows you why the ethics function is always in a kind of external communication mode in the big corporations, the PR department, compliance department. So,
can I give you a real life? This is just a story that popped up. I won't name the name of the person in the company, but there's a very large company in Austria that's very well known that has what's it called? Their money in a trust. Okay. And I think de facto they pay, a maximum of 6% taxes, which is fairly low if they pay taxes at all. Right. And this person is famous for going in the news and saying rich people should pay more taxes. We don't. Okay. But we would. Right. And I'm like, are you listening to yourself? On one hand, you're acknowledging the fact that we should all be more ethical, right? And then on the other hand, you're kind of thumbing your nose at us saying, yeah, but I mean, if you give me a loophole, and a lot of these loopholes are basically instigated by lobbies that look out for their own interest. I think that's a kind of a catch-22 when it comes to thinking about business ethics. So you were talking about where do we need to start? You said business schools would be one place to start. What would business schools have to do different?
Well, they would have to start